I heard someone unlock the bedroom door from the outside at 2:14 in the morning, even though the Airbnb host kept insisting the cabin only had one key and it was hanging on a hook next to me. The handle moved slowly first, then stopped halfway like whoever was out there realized I was awake. I remember sitting straight up in bed, not even breathing, staring at that cheap brass knob while my phone screen lit the room blue. Then 3 soft knocks, not loud, fingernails almost. After maybe 10 seconds, I heard footsteps move across the porch boards outside my window, slow enough that they wanted me to hear them. I booked the place because I needed somewhere isolated to work for a few nights. I edit wedding videos freelance, and this cabin outside Asheville was cheap during the week. The listing said off-grid artistic retreat, which should have been my first clue, honestly. But the photos looked normal: tiny kitchen, wood stove, forest around it. No reviews mentioning anything weird, except one person saying the host was intense about house rules. I got there around 6 p.m. while it was still light out. The host, Derek, wasn't supposed to meet me in person, but his truck was already there when I pulled up. Old red Tacoma, mud all over the sides. He was standing near the porch smoking and staring at my car before I even parked, not waving, just watching. First thing he said was, "You came alone, right?" I laughed because I thought maybe he was joking. He didn't laugh back. He just looked past me into the back seat, like he was checking. The cabin itself smelled weirdly damp. Not mold exactly, more like wet dirt. Derek walked me through everything too fast. Don't touch the thermostat. Don't open the cellar hatch. If the generator cuts off, wait 10 minutes before restarting it. He said that last part twice. Then he pointed at a landline phone mounted on the kitchen wall and said, "Cell service dies after midnight around here." I remember thinking that sounded ridiculous, but I checked later and, yeah. Around midnight, my phone basically became useless. 1 bar at best. Before he left, Derek handed me a printed sheet of rules. Not normal Airbnb stuff either. Stuff like, if you hear knocking from the back door, ignore it. If lights appear in the woods, close the curtains. Do not leave shoes outside overnight. I thought it was one of those corny attempts to make the place seem spooky for tourists. People do that now. Haunted cabin experience garbage. But the weird thing was, Derek wasn't acting playful at all. He looked genuinely nervous handing me the paper, like he expected me to meet it. Around 9 p.m. I started editing footage at the kitchen table. It was raining by then. Hard enough that branches kept scraping across the roof. Every now and then the lights dimmed slightly from the generator. I had headphones on for most of it, until I noticed this low sound underneath the rain. Rhythmic, not mechanical. Footsteps maybe, circling outside. I muted everything and listened. Nothing for a second. Then crunch, 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 gravel, near the side of the cabin. I checked the windows but couldn't see much beyond my own reflection. That's when I realized the porch light was off. I know it had been on earlier. I opened the front door to switch it back on and immediately saw my shoes were gone. Both of them. I actually stood there confused longer than I should have, because my brain kept trying to come up with a reasonable explanation. Maybe I accidentally left them in the car. Maybe an animal dragged them. But they had been right beside the door maybe 20 minutes earlier, and sitting in their place was a different pair. Muddy work boots. One tipped over on its side. I went cold, instantly, like every hair on my arms just lifted. I looked out toward the trees and said hello. Nothing. Rain. Wind. Then, way deeper in the woods, I saw a flashlight blink once. Just once. I slammed the door and locked it. That was the first moment I considered leaving. But honestly, I talked myself out of it because I didn't want to sound insane calling Airbnb support over random boots on a porch. I texted Derek instead. "Hey, somebody's shoes are outside my cabin." He responded almost immediately. "Do not go outside again tonight." That was it. No explanation. 10 minutes later, the generator died. Everything blacked out so fast I actually yelped. Total silence after the power cut, except for rain hitting the roof. Then I remembered what Derek said. Wait 10 minutes. I sat there timing it on my phone flashlight, trying not to panic. Around minute 6, I heard movement underneath the cabin. Not small scratching either, heavy movement. Slow dragging sounds across the floorboards beneath me. I froze. There was a cellar hatch in the kitchen floor, the one Derek specifically mentioned. I kept staring at it while the noises continued under there. Thump, drag, thump. Like someone shifting furniture in a cramped space. Then the landline phone rang, loud enough I nearly knocked my chair over. I answered immediately without thinking. Static, then breathing, wet-sounding breathing. I kept saying hello, but whoever it was never spoke. After maybe 15 seconds, the line clicked dead. Right after that, the movement under the floor stopped too, completely, like they were listening. I made it maybe another hour before deciding I was overreacting and needed to sleep. That's the embarrassing part. I convinced myself there had to be logical explanations. Rural property noises, bad phone line. Weird host trying too hard to create atmosphere. So I locked the bedroom door and laid down fully dressed. Then at 2:14, I heard the lock turn for the outside. After the footsteps moved off the porch, I grabbed the fireplace poker and checked every room. Nothing inside, but the back door was open maybe 3 inches. I know I locked it earlier because I checked it twice. Rain had blown onto the kitchen floor, and the cellar hatch was open now too, just slightly, enough to show darkness underneath. I stood there for maybe a full minute staring at that gap. I could smell dirt stronger now, wet earth, and something rotten. I wanted to leave immediately, but my keys were gone. They'd been on the counter by the sink. I searched everywhere. Backpack, jacket, bathroom, nothing. Then I noticed mud across the kitchen floor, bare footprints. Human, leading from the open back door to the cellar hatch, not from it, to it. Like somebody walked inside and climbed down there. I backed away so fast I hit the wall. I called Derek again. No answer. Called Airbnb emergency support. Got stuck on hold because my signal kept dropping. Then I heard it. My car unlocking outside. Beep beep. I looked through the front window and saw the interior light turn on. Someone was inside my car. I couldn't see them clearly through the rain, just movement. The driver's side door opened and shut, and the headlights came on. My stomach dropped because the car slowly backed out of the driveway. I ran to the front door barefoot and outside into the rain, screaming at whoever was taking it. The car stopped maybe 30 feet down the path, brake lights glowing red through the trees. Then all the lights shut off at once. Complete darkness again. I stood there soaked and shaking, trying to decide whether someone was still inside it. Then I heard footsteps behind me on the porch. I spun around so fast I slipped in mud. Nobody there. But the front door to the cabin was wide open now. And from inside, the landline phone started ringing again. I don't know why I went back in. Pure panic, maybe. The phone kept ringing and ringing while I stood in the doorway dripping water onto the floor. Finally, I answered. This time it was Derek, whispering. He said, "Are you downstairs?" I remember getting angry immediately. I yelled, "What the hell is going on?" He ignored me and asked again, quieter this time, "Are you downstairs right now?" Then I heard another voice faintly through his phone. Not near him, near me, like from inside the cabin, mimicking him. "Are you downstairs right now?" Same cadence, same whisper. I dropped the phone, literally dropped it on the floor, because the second voice wasn't coming through the receiver anymore. It came from underneath me, directly beneath the kitchen floorboards. I backed into the wall so hard I knocked framed photos down. Then the cellar hatch moved, not swinging open dramatically, just a little scrape upward, someone underneath pushing gently against it. I ran for the bedroom, shoved a dresser against the door, and stayed there until sunrise, holding that fireplace poker like it would do anything. I kept hearing movement the entire night, sometimes outside the window, sometimes in the hallway. Once, right outside the bedroom door, somebody coughed. A real human coughed. Dry, older sounding. Around 4 a.m., my laptop screen suddenly lit up on the desk. The editing software had reopened by itself. A video file started playing with no sound. It was wedding footage I'd been working on earlier. Bride walking down the aisle. Except halfway through the clip, there was a single frame inserted that absolutely wasn't mine. Just one frame. Too quick to even process. I replayed it over and over until I paused on it. It was the inside of the cabin kitchen. Dark. Grainy. Timestamp 2:13 a.m. 1 minute before the bedroom handle moved. In the image, someone was standing behind me while I worked at the front door. Table. Tall. Bald maybe. Face blurred from motion. Just watching me. When daylight finally came, everything outside looked normal again. My car was back in the driveway with the keys sitting in the ignition. The muddy footprints inside the cabin were gone. Completely gone. Like somebody cleaned them. Even the cellar hatch was shut tight. I packed my stuff in maybe 3 minutes and left. Derek texted me while I was driving away. "You went outside after dark, didn't you?" Not a question mark. Just that. I never replied. A week later, Airbnb refunded the trip without me even asking, which I thought was strange because I hadn't filed anything yet. The listing disappeared too. Gone entirely. But the part that still bothers me is something I noticed months later while exporting that wedding video. That single inserted frame wasn't actually inserted once. It appears 3 separate times in the footage. Same kitchen. Same timestamp. Same figure standing behind me. Only each time, it's closer. The Airbnb host called me at 1:11 in the morning and asked why I was standing in his hallway when I was locked inside the bathroom, hiding from somebody breathing outside the door. I remember just staring at my phone screen because for maybe 2 seconds my brain stopped working. He kept talking over me, whispering fast, saying, "Don't move, okay? Whoever's in the hall keeps looking at the camera." I said, "I'm in the bathroom." Silence. Then I heard him inhale sharply like he'd just realized something before the call suddenly cut out. No goodbye. Nothing. Just dead air. The whole thing started because my apartment ceiling collapsed from a pipe leak, and I needed somewhere cheap for a few nights while repairs got sorted out. The Airbnb I found was this narrow old townhouse outside Baltimore. 3 floors. Recently renovated according to the listing, though honestly only the first floor looked renovated. Upstairs still had old stained carpet and these weird uneven walls that made doors hang crooked. The host, Marianne, never met me in person. She sent instructions through the app saying the key would be under a fake rock near the steps. Pretty normal. But when I got there around 8 p.m., the front door was already unlocked. I remember stopping on the sidewalk thinking maybe cleaners were still inside. I even knocked first before opening it. Nobody answered. The inside smelled strongly like bleach, enough to sting my nose. Not dirty exactly. Overcleaned. Like somebody trying to erase a smell. The kitchen lights flickered when I walked in. Not horror movie flickering either. More like old electrical wiring struggling. I texted Marianne to let her know the house had been left unlocked. She replied almost instantly. "Was the chain locked too?" I checked. No chain. I told her no. Then she sent, "Okay, don't use the 3rd floor tonight. Maintenance issue." That immediately annoyed me because the listing specifically included the 3rd floor bedroom. I asked what kind of maintenance issue. No response after that. I should have left right there, honestly, but I was exhausted and already carrying camera gear and clothes inside. I shoot nightclub promotions for bars around the city, mostly overnight work, and I had another shoot the next evening. I just wanted sleep. Around 10 p.m., I noticed something strange with the hallway mirror near the stairs. Every time I walked past it, I'd catch myself slowing down because it looked like the hallway behind me was slightly darker in the reflection than in real life. Hard to explain, like the lighting didn't match correctly. I even checked the bulbs, thinking maybe one side had burned out. Everything looked normal directly, weird only in the mirror. At first I thought I was just tired. Then I noticed the timestamps on the security monitor in the kitchen were wrong. There were 4 camera feeds displayed on a mounted tablet near the fridge. Front porch, backyard, hallway, basement stairs. The time on all of them was exactly 1 hour ahead. 11:47 p.m. instead of 10:47. I remember because I corrected it manually through settings. 10 minutes later, the clocks changed back on their own. I figured maybe they synced automatically online or something. But while I was standing there looking at it, the basement camera briefly flashed static, just for a second. Then I saw somebody standing at the bottom of the stairs, not moving. The quality was grainy enough I couldn't make out details, but there was definitely a person down there. I physically turned toward the basement door expecting to hear movement. Nothing. The house was dead quiet. I checked the feed again, and whoever it was had disappeared. At that point, I messaged Marianne asking if anyone else had access to the property. She took almost 20 minutes to respond. No one should be there except you. Should be. That wording stuck with me. Around midnight, I was editing photos in bed when I started hearing footsteps overhead. Slow, creaking, directly above me. 3rd floor. At first, I assumed maybe old houses just make noise naturally, but this was too patterned. Step, pause, step, drag, then silence, then another step. I texted Marianne again, reminding her she specifically told me nobody should use the 3rd floor. No response. The footsteps continued another 5 minutes before stopping abruptly above my room. I actually held my breath listening. Then came this soft metallic noise, like someone lightly tapping pipes together. Clink, clink, clink. Right over my ceiling. I grabbed my phone flashlight and went into the hallway. The stairs leading to the 3rd floor were dark because that level didn't have working lights. Halfway up, I noticed fresh muddy footprints on the steps. Bare footprints. Wet. I froze immediately because it hadn't rained all day. I remember crouching and touching one just to make sure my eyes weren't playing tricks on me. Definitely wet. Still fresh. I backed downstairs and locked my bedroom door. Maybe 15 minutes later, somebody tried the handle. Slowly. Not aggressively, just testing it once. Then again. I yelled, occupied, thinking maybe somehow maintenance workers actually were there. No response. The handle stopped moving. Then I heard footsteps walk away down the hall. I stayed awake another hour before finally hearing the front door open downstairs, then close. After that, everything went quiet again. The next morning, Marianne apologized through text and claimed a cleaner accidentally entered the wrong property overnight, which made absolutely no sense because whoever was upstairs had bare feet. I almost checked out immediately, but she offered a partial refund, and honestly, I needed the money. So I stayed another night. Big mistake. The second night was worse, because now I was paying attention to every tiny thing. Around 11 p.m., the backyard motion light kept switching on randomly, every 10 minutes or so. No movement visible from the window, just the light clicking on and off over and over. Then I noticed there was a folding chair placed directly against the back fence facing the house. I swear it wasn't there earlier. It looked deliberate too, like someone sitting out there watching windows. I locked the back door and pulled the curtain shut. Around midnight, my phone started losing service completely. Calls wouldn't connect. Wi-Fi disappeared too.
I went downstairs to restart the router and noticed the basement door was slightly open now, maybe 3 inches. I know for a fact it had been shut earlier because the camera tablet was mounted directly beside it. The basement smelled awful. Wet concrete and something sour underneath it. I remember hearing water dripping down there, slow, echoing drips. I didn't open the door wider. I just pushed it shut again. While I was doing that, I saw movement on the security monitor out of the corner of my eye. The hallway camera showed someone standing outside my bedroom upstairs. Tall guy, gray hoodie, face lowered, completely still. I sprinted upstairs immediately thinking someone had broken in, but when I reached the hallway, nobody was there. Bedroom empty, bathroom empty, closets empty. I checked every room on the second floor, shaking like an idiot. Nothing. Then my phone buzzed with a notification from the Airbnb app. Motion detected. Stairs. I opened the camera feed directly from the app. Static at first. Then a blurry frame appeared of someone moving upward toward the basement door. Fast.
Like they'd noticed the camera. The feed cut out before I could see their face. Right after that, all the lights downstairs shut off at once. Complete darkness. I stood frozen upstairs listening. One of the worst parts was how quiet the house became after the power cut. No appliances humming, no traffic outside, just silence. Then, a single creak from downstairs. Then another. Someone walking slowly across the kitchen floor. I locked myself inside the bathroom because it had the only solid core door upstairs. I called Marianne 3 times, no answer. Then at exactly 1:11 a.m., she called me. That's when she asked why I was standing in the hallway. After the call disconnected, I stayed completely still, listening to somebody moving outside the bathroom. Slow footsteps, then stopping directly near the door. I could hear breathing, not exaggerated movie breathing either. Just tired human breathing through the nose. Close enough I could tell it was an older man. I texted Marianne instead of calling again. "There's someone inside." She responded instantly this time. "Do not open the bathroom door until I text you." I asked if she was calling police. No reply. The breathing stayed there another full minute before footsteps moved. Away again. Then I heard something even worse. The sound of my bedroom door opening across the hall. I knew that sound because the hinges squealed slightly every time. And drawers opening. Somebody going through my stuff. I remember gripping the sink so hard my hands cramped. At one point the bathroom lights flickered and went out for maybe 2 seconds. During that blackout I heard whispering right outside a door. 2 voices. Couldn't make out words. When the lights came back on, I noticed something weird. There was water slowly spreading across the bathroom tiles from underneath the door. Not flooding, just a thin line moving inward. I stepped back instinctively. Then I realized it wasn't water from pipes or leaks. Muddy footprints were appearing in it. Bare footprints, one after another crossing the hallway outside. I could see the shadows under the gap of the door. Somebody pacing back and forth. Then silence again. Around maybe 2 a.m. the power returned downstairs because I heard the refrigerator kick back on. A few seconds later my phone buzzed with another Airbnb message from Marianne. Just 3 words. "They left yet?" They, not he. I called 911 after that. Finally got enough signal. The dispatcher stayed on the line while officers came out. The weirdest part is the cops barely searched the place. They checked rooms, basement, backyard. Nobody there. One officer actually seemed annoyed with me, probably thinking I was paranoid or high or something. But then another cop found something upstairs. On the 3rd floor, a mattress on the floor with food wrappers and water bottles beside it. Fresh. Like someone had been living up there recently. The 3rd floor bedroom door also locked from the outside, not inside. The officer asked Marianne about it when she arrived 20 minutes later. She claimed her brother sometimes stayed there while doing repair work. But the cop's expression changed when he checked her ID, because apparently she didn't own the property at all. She was managing it for someone else. Long story short, police never really explained anything to me. They told me not to return for my final night and Airbnb refunded the stay. But here's the thing, I still can't stop thinking about. 2 days later, I got an automated email from Airbnb asking me to review my completed stay. Included in the email were 3 random security snapshot thumbnails from the property cameras. Front porch, basement stairs, upstairs hallway. I clicked the hallway image first. Timestamped 1:10 a.m., 1 minute before Marianne called me. The picture showed the upstairs hallway completely empty, except for one thing. My bathroom door was cracked open, and somebody was standing inside the bathroom, looking out into the hall. Somebody wearing my clothes. Same black hoodie I'd been wearing that night. Except I know for a fact I was the one who took that screenshot, because I remember exactly where I was standing when the email arrived, and my hoodie was hanging in my apartment closet, right beside me.